It's a good world. Good world gone bad.
Welcome back, everybody. Today's the day we're just gonna clean up the engine bay. We're gonna modify the steering shaft, just tuck all the wires. We'll probably remove all the sound deadening. Just clean up everything. I'll probably, once all that's done, I'll pressure wash. But yeah, we're just gonna get the engine bay ready for an engine. And yeah, a few other things trickled in overnight. We got just a little miscellaneous pilot bearing, intake manifold gaskets, one a flywheel bolt. I thought it was a set of 8, but I must have been not looking that hard and just trying to rush stuff. But so we need 7, or sorry, not one of 8, one of 6, I believe it is. We need 5 more of those guys. Got a trick flow steam venting kit for the top of the engine. Bunch of nice AN fittings and these little guys, which are really the only part you need. You can make the rest yourself. But yeah, these are the little steam vent, and you can steam vent all 4 corners. I got Holley coil pack harness came in, so that looks really nice. That'll clean up the coil pack situation quite nicely. And a flywheel. It should be a flywheel. I haven't even opened it yet, but I know it's a flywheel. Better make sure that there's it in there. Boom, flywheel. This came from far away, so hopefully it wasn't damaged or dropped along the way. It looks like it was, but that's a flywheel if I ever seen one. So yeah, thanks for tuning back in, and we'll get to work here. Okay, so I just removed the O2 sensor harness that was like the from the M54. There are some wires I had to cut. I'm assuming these are all power going to the O2s. If I have a nice dry space to store wires, instead of following everything back, this is a laziness and a niceness thing. Like, I'm too lazy to see where these wires go because they go fucking down in there. I want to retain this box, but I also want to terminate the ends, right? So you don't have to worry about stuff shorting out. Who knows if these are going to be getting power for any reason. I don't care. I don't want to have to do any research, but I know that if I terminate these ends, wrap up this little harness all nice, I can just tuck it in my box, and then it's not a worry for later. And if I end up needing this for some reason, I know where it is. It's going to be right tucked in my ECU box here. So yeah, those wires are gone. We're just going to keep simplifying here. What we're gonna do with this stuff, I thought about it a little bit. We got headlights, we got heater control valve, this is ABS sensor. I don't know what that is. It comes out somewhere down over here. I can't remember what it is. Probably like power steering pump level, or fluid level or something. And horn, ambient air, fog lights. The only thing I really want is the headlights. But you know, I might want my AC later on. I might want to get my fog lights working again, which never worked for me. I might want to plumb in my horn when I start giving a flying fuck. But for now, these are gonna stay out. I thought about running it down the fender galley here, drilling a hole, but I think the easiest route is for me to bunch all these together, to get some real nice loom, and I'll run it super tight to the wall, nice down here, and then all this extra stuff that I don't really necessarily want to get rid of, but I also don't want to be seen, I'm just gonna ravel it up, and we're gonna shove it up the fender, and we're gonna save it for later, so it's there if we want it, but for now we don't want it. So we're just gonna run it up here, make things look super clean or cleaner, without putting too much effort into it. So I think that's what we're gonna do. And then over on this side it'll be the same thing, except for the fact that we have a couple extra things over here like fan relays and all this junk, which we'll get rid of. Okay, so I got the passenger side wiring all torn apart for the headlights and all the bullshit. It looks complicated, but it's really not. I just unwrapped it. I got it separated into 3 different zones here. This is headlight zone. This is zone we're not gonna use. We're also not gonna terminate any of this stuff. We're gonna wrap it all up real nice, and we're gonna shove it down in this hole. So in case we ever need to use any of these, I doubt we will, it'll be down there. And then the third section that I have here is wiring for the fan, wiring for the AC, and wiring for the fog lamp and the horn. So this is stuff, I mean the fan power I'm going to use for sure. The other things are things that I might want to use down the road, so I'm going to wrap that up all nice and stack it on top of this one, and that's all going to be shoved way down in there. We're going to make a nice little plate to cover it all. It's just way easier than cutting wires and making sure, like if I just leave these plugs all connected, I don't have to worry about shit shorting out that's got power. I can just, it'll be down there. Who knows, we might need it in the long run. The AC, if I put that in the long run, we'll have this little plug for that, and the horn I'll probably rig up. Fog lights never worked for me, so I don't really care about that, but everything's organized. We'll get it all tucked away down in there, and I will keep these. I'm not going to run any of the headlight harness yet because I'm going to pressure wash, and if it's all out of the way, it just makes cleaning easier. So yeah, that's that side, and like I said, this side's a lot simpler. There's way less wires. I'm just going to hide most of this stuff and wrap it in loom and run it down real nice right here after the fact. That'll be one of the last sort of touch-up things before I put the front end back on, but for now it's going to sit there, and we have a way better space here to clean with the pressure washer. All right, that stuff's all tucked away down there. I got this taped off. We got our two different looms here. This is maybe gonna use, this is most likely definitely not gonna use, but that's gonna sit all down in there nice like that. Like I said, there's already holes here. We're gonna make a nice plate that goes over this, and then we're gonna have, you know, probably a bunch of relays and shit here for the Terminator. And then yeah, we'll just have this loom coming up towards our headlights, and tuck this back in there like that. Even save this nice little grommet. That can go back in there. We'll wrap it all up. Like I said, we won't do that till the end, but that's all figured out for now. And yeah, we're just gonna start ripping out all the heat shield stuff in here. We're gonna get rid of all that, and that'll be next. Then the steering shaft's gonna come out, and we'll do some fuel hoses too. Okay, so we're on to the next step here. I'm working on the the steering shaft here. This is an upper from another car, and as you can see, we have our other upper here. I've pulled apart, I've separated already. Make sure your steering wheel's locked. Where is the top part of the Weebo? So this guy here came off the bottom. It's got this aligning sort of plastic shroud thing here. It sits on there like that, and that aligning goes through there. So I just undid the 2 bolts, E10s, pop that off. So my plan is I'm gonna shear this inner shaft off here. I'm gonna grind that off. I'm gonna leave this as is. These are like epoxy or glued together. So I'm gonna grind that off there, and then on the lower one, I'm just going to melt these 2 slips out. So we'll just have this piece here, and then this will be cut off. We'll slip this up in there, and then we'll put a set screw, or we'll tap in a screw right here. So all you got to do is undo that screw, slip it up, pull it out, and it should be good. So we'll get going on that. I've done some melting here, and this is what we've come up with. I ended up talking to a friend, and I was just gonna leave this part glued and set screw here, but basically what the consensus we came to was we should keep both sides set pinch bolted, because that just allows us to have more adjustability with the headers and stuff. Like, we might want to push this piece all the way up in there to thread this part into the header, or we might want to take it right out and get them lined up. So we're gonna put a pinch weld here, or sorry, not a pinch weld, a pinch bolt here and a pinch bolt here. We'll just stick this in there. We'll kind of mark on the shaft here where we want it to sit, because we want our pinch bolt to go through this. I don't know if you guys can tell, but this is just glue right here. It actually recesses in a little bit. That's how it's glued into these shafts. So we want our pinch bolt to go through here, not through this recessed glue part. So we'll just kind of set it up in there like that, drill through there, stick some bolts through it, frickin' tighten them up, and the steering shaft's done. So yeah, I don't know, pretty cool, pretty simple, nice, cheap and easy way to get a telescoping shaft. Hopefully it'll fit through the headers nice, and we'll be able to remove the shaft easily, and the headers in and out by doing this. It's all done. Telescoping driving shaft is done. We used just some M6 bolts. We want to use pretty small, because we're going to want to get all the clearance we can get for our headers. Yeah, and I'm not going to run any washers or lock washers. We're just going to Loctite the shit out of this nut on this side. I even took a little bit off there, off each side, just for clearance. We might have to change this when we get the headers in, but I'm pretty sure that this is going to work good. Yeah, M6 bolts, it's tight, everything's really tight. I used a 15/64 drill bit for this, and yeah, that's another thing checked off the list. Now we're gonna cut out this guy. And then I'm gonna start going down that away with fuel lines and stuff. So I'm gonna take these old tank breathers out, and maybe even put the filter in and get that all ready. And then we're looking pretty good around here. Okay, I just cut away this shield. I don't want to take anything out because I'm lazy. I think I cut it away enough, filed her down just so it's not super sharp. And we're gonna give her a little sealer just so that edge that I cut doesn't start rusting. And then we're gonna follow some of these lines. We're gonna start taking apart this little fuel filter assembly down here and figure something out. So, one step at a time here. Not the best way to do it, but nobody's gonna be able to see that anyway, so we just don't want it to start rusting. Give her a little bit more here. That's good enough. Another thing that we should do is we're gonna want to we're gonna want to strap these to the side of the frame, because when and if these melt, there'll be something holding the brake lines against the frame. So we'll just put some haywire, something to hold them to the frame. I'm thinking utilizing this hole and this little stub down here, a little bit of haywire, tighten her up real tight, just as a safety measure. Yo, so fuel stuff is pretty much done. Well, this underside, couple -6 male JIC to 5/16 tube fittings. I'll show you the packet. I already had these JIC push on. That's not JIC, it's brass, but it's okay for JIC. I had these push connectors, a couple pieces of hose, this Evil Fuel Corvette fuel filter from Amazon. Came with the fittings, the quick connect fittings that go onto the fuel filter. And then I just ran the hose out. All I had to do was, there's like literally the BMW filter is the same shape pretty much, and this thing bolted right up in there perfectly. I'll even be able to run this shroud again. I'm just showing you guys before I put it back on. Unfortunately, the bolt that comes out here I snapped because it was old and rusty, so I just plowed in a freaking self-tapper. And yeah, so the shroud will come up to here. I prepped the fuel hose with this heat shield stuff. I just got it running down here. I got a bunch of extra. I'll wait till the engine's in and we'll finish that end. But this part's done, and we can move on to the next thing. I also pulled out that carpet shit that's in here. There's a bunch of little carpet studs that I cut off. I'm probably gonna end up bashing all that, but so that's all out. You can see I have my chassis mount shifter coming through here just loosely. I'll probably show you guys what I'm gonna do on another episode, but I'm pretty excited. I got some good stuff for that, and I've got some pretty good ideas. So yeah, that pretty much concludes it under here. I'm gonna pull these engine mount bushings out before I drop the car, but yeah, fuel system super simple. Keeping it simple. Following the KISS system, the keep it simple, stupid. So yeah. Also, we'll have to this tank vent, unless you want to run it into your, it's this guy here, unless you want to run it into your intake, I suggest removing it all the way to back here somewhere where it comes down and you can vent it out the side of your car. You either have to do that or vent it into your intake, which I don't really want to do because there's just another line going on into my intake, and I just don't like that. So I'm gonna vent it out back here, just to get it out of the way so you don't have gas fumes coming out into your engine bay. Okay, well, I got pretty much everything done as far as prep goes. I'm going to clean this. I'm gonna pull it closer to the door here, and then I'm gonna spray it. I got some super clean. I'm gonna get that soaking, but while I soak it, I'm gonna work on the throttle cable. But first I'm gonna pull the old pedal assembly out and see how that new one, or new old one that I got, goes in. So while we're soaking, we'll work on the throttle cable. Engine bay soaking with some super clean. Hopefully it'll be super clean. But I've been dreading this, and that's climbing down in here. I really always hate working in the footwell. Who doesn't? I should probably just take the seat out now, but I'm not gonna. Roll it back here. That's as far as she'll go. Got some light going on. All right, what are we working with here? This is all new to me. I've never worked on BMWs really before until I got this car. I'm a Nissan and Toyota guy, in case you guys haven't noticed, but so I never pulled interior bits out. And every car has its little tricks. I'm hoping this isn't tricky. That's gonna go there. Cool, plastic piece has been removed. Oh yeah. Okay, all right. Now I just did I had to do a little tube search to figure out how to do this. There's this little white hole down here, and you stick your screwdriver in, and there's a tab in there, and you gotta pry this up. And when you pry it up, you have to simultaneously pull this whole unit to the left, right to the driver's side, that way. So up and to the driver's side, and it sits on a thing in here, and it's got like its own tray that it slides into. So we'll give it a shot here. I haven't done it yet, but we'll give it a shot. I felt her click. There we go. Bingo bango, baby. So, I'm really not stoked about this, but it looks like, oh no. Oh, that's a bummer. I have to pull the column out, because I gotta replace this black piece with this guy. I was being real stupid. I thought that I had to change out this whole plate here for the throttle pedal with this one, but I was being stupid. I don't have to change the plate out. I just put the pedal on. This plate is the same as this plate. I just have to take this cable pedal off, like literally the pedal shaft or mount or whatever the hell you want to call it. I gotta take it off and then just stick it right up into this one. So that's pretty easy. And then the I was looking around, I was like, where the hell does this throttle cable run up? There's a square hole, you can see it right there. That's where the cable will go through. And then that pops out. I'll show you guys. That pops out. So normally there's this little firewall sort of panel here for your heater box stuff. I put it on the bench, it's right there. But yeah, that little square hole pops out on the driver's side right there. So we'll just mount our cable right there. One thing I did have to buy was this throttle cable that I bought, the low car 48-inch or whatever it is. The end that's going to be going through the firewall has this nice little clip thingy on it to clip onto the throttle pedal, but that's not gonna work for us because I'll show you. If I was more organized, this would be better, but that clip doesn't fit. Like, this is where it's supposed to go. Right here you can see there's a normal sort of throttle cable, and it looks like I'd have to either grind this down or grind that down. So what I did is I just went to Lordco and I bought an assortment of, what do they call them? Cable stop assortment. Dorman 03336. And there should be one in there that should work for us. I believe it's 5/16. So we'll just cut this end of the cable. We'll crimp one of these suckers on. And I'll disassemble this all on the bench so we can put it into the car easy. But yeah, we'll just start doing that. Got my trusty bendy needle nosers, which I usually end up using more than the straight ones, but it looks like there's a little clip right here. I don't know if you can see, but the end of the shaft looks like that just needs to squeeze in. Got my trusty bendy needle nosers, which I usually end up using more than the straight ones, but it looks like there's a little clip right here. I don't know if you can see, but the end of the shaft looks like that just needs to squeeze in. I might not even need those. Squeeze in, pull out, and then this whole thing should slide out. Well, of course, I forgot to take the spring off first. Yeah, that slides out. Pull the little plastic piece. Looks like some sort of just a little bushing that goes in there like that. We'll need that. Our other bushings there. Pull this little spring off. I may not have been using these for a while, but they snip like no other. Bingo. Just as I suspected. So the hole in the cable end, too small. We're gonna drill it out with my Cambodian tire drill bits, which usually break, but we'll just hope for the best. I'm gonna set this up in the vise. Battery. What do we got here? Oh, we got full bars on this one, boys. Full bars. God damn it. There's not enough room for beer cans in this place. Problem solved, boys, problem solved. Well, that's gonna be a problem for us. I think we do have to unbolt this and spin it, because I don't think there's any way to get this on. There's no room here unless I cut this, or I could just unbolt the 3 10 mils and slide it towards us, or spin it a little bit just to get this on, because it doesn't look like I can get it on. Yeah, that's the way it has to go. So it has to go like this. So first things first, I think while this is out, we'll bolt in our throttle cable, because once this is there, there'll be less room in that little hole above So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put the throttle cable in. I made the executive decision. So I ran into a slight problem doing the throttle cable. If I run this end through the stock throttle cable location, which is right there, it points in a very bad spot for the stock throttle pedal. It points like right at the steering shaft, and you want a nice straight shot for your throttle cable. You don't want it doing weird bends, because that bend's going to act as a spring on your throttle cable, and it'll take the responsiveness out of it. So I thought, you know, we could drill a new hole next to this hole in there and get it closer. And then I started doing some thinking. I grabbed this is the stock 323 throttle cable that goes through your firewall, and this piece right here was on the end, and that's where it hooks onto the pedals, just past here. So I cut it off, and as you can see, when it goes onto the firewall, it's got this angle. So I was like, well, let's just utilize this. So it's kind of greasy, but I drilled it out. It's kind of been compromised, but it's still like solid, and it feels like a good piece. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna got the throttle cable here. I ground down this end and drilled a bigger hole through this, and I'm just going to put it on there like this. So now when our throttle cable goes through the firewall, it's gonna have that nice angle that it needs to get to the throttle pedal. And also, I was thinking there isn't much threads here, so I'm gonna RTV the shit out of the threads on this, and then I'm gonna Loctite this on there, and it shouldn't go anywhere. And the other cool thing is, when I get this all glued together and everything and tightened down, it's got these firewall clips, so I can literally just plug it into the firewall and it's done. Worked without a hitch. We got the throttle cable coming out at the factory location, and that little clip that I modified to fit back in the firewall works totally great. And then inside the car, that's all buttoned up. I don't know if you can see up there. Nah, that'd be impossible to see. But behind the shift lever is where that throttle cable points through. And yeah, that worked great. That all went in nicely. But then, at the very end, the very last step, bingo. Totally fucked that. So, I mean, I got this from the wrecker, and it was already in pretty bad condition. So I'm gonna see if I can do some sort of funny business. I was almost thinking about like getting a piece of leather, tapping it into this, and then just tapping it into the back side of that, so it's got some sort of fabric there, because these are shit anyways. Like, these always break. So I don't know, maybe I can figure something out. I think I can, just with a piece of something I could, like, just some sort of fabric, even just a couple bolts there, and then bolt it all the way up the pedal. It'll be a nice thing to step on. It'll be flexy, like a nice thin piece of leather, I'm thinking. So anyways, I'm so tired of being in this footwell, so I'm gonna call that good for now. Woohoo! But yeah, we've done quite a bit in this video. It always changes when I start editing things. Who knows, maybe it's 5 minutes, maybe it took 20, but steering shaft, check. Fuel lines, check. Throttle cable, check. We got our wiring sort of cleaned up a little bit. What else did we do? We did a nice wash. The only thing I can think of that I have that I haven't done yet is take this tape off that I taped up for the pressure washing. I got a couple hoses here. So these guys, obviously I'm going to cut them down, but bingo bango, they'll run down along the firewall, down along here. Gonna say screw that fucking heater valve for now. I'm not going to be running AC anytime soon, so don't need it. But yeah, I think on the next video we'll be doing, I picked up a bunch of relays for a fuel pump and radiator fan. We'll just be doing more little things, but for now I think that's going to conclude this video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Really appreciate it, and I hope this helps you, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.